Hey everyone, welcome back to more Survivor 42 talk. This is episode 2. I was not able to get my whole point of doing this without doing reactions was so that I would get it out to you quicker than a week later, but it ended up being a week later again anyway. I apologize for that. Hopefully from now on it'll be quicker, turnaround much quicker, and it should be good. This felt like a pretty standard episode to me, not the most amazing episode in the world, but fun all around. We had a couple personal moments which I thought was interesting. You had Hai talking about being a vegan and how he was struggling with that, especially when he heard that he wouldn't have rice this season, and so he basically had to decide whether he would choose to eat meat at all to sustain himself, because that's basically all they have out there when you're scrounging for every little thing you can get. And so basically he decides that I guess the universe would be forgiving to him if in this particular circumstance, for this period of time, if he suspends that belief and eats animal-based products. Now that's really interesting to me. I mean, you can get into a whole discussion on veganism in general, but I wouldn't necessarily say that Survivor, it's a specific circumstance in that you're in a place where you don't have the options. So in that sense, it makes sense, but also it is also your choice to go out and Survivor, right? But he didn't know rice would be involved. It might be a dream of his. So I guess if the universe really cares about that and the morality of it all, then maybe he could get out that way. But I would just be interested in what other vegans would think on the matter. That would be what I would be interested in hearing. Another thing I found particularly interesting, this season we had a couple of moments of pop culture references. I remember the premiere, there was mention where Tori was like, you guys like Harry Potter, and that was just in the episode, which is interesting. Some of these things you don't usually make into the episode, which do you like Harry Potter? And in this one, they kind of snuck it in there, but I could tell that's what she was doing, that Marianne was pretending to do the Disney Channel wand thing, but make it like CBS, hey, I'm Marianne and you're watching CBS, and did a little motion. So I thought those movements were interesting. Also, Omar talking about him being his Muslim faith, and everyone being accepting of him in that way as well. It was these nice little moments, which made the episode relatively light on strategy, which can be a nice change of pace, honestly, in a game that is so 90% strategy and game stuff these days, especially with the new era. And now the whole things between Drea, Romeo, Roxroy, Swati, and Tori, stuff going on in that tribe. We never got to see come to fruition what's going to go on with that, but it is a little hint of probably things to come, where Drea talked about how she might want an all-girls alliance over the alliance she does have with Romeo and Roxroy, and that she could even use her extra vote to make something happen there. But then Swati immediately was like, I actually want to get Drea out instead. She tells Tori that, I want to get her out instead. She doesn't want to do the all-girls thing, and she has too much power with this extra vote or whatever. I do like people intent. I feel like we've seen this a couple times already in these past 2 seasons with this new era, where it's this person will come up to them and be like, I have this thing, now work with me, and I want to make it our thing. How can I let it help us? And 9 times out of 10 it seems the reaction to that is wow, I don't like that they have this extra vote, it's too much power. When in reality, I would think there should be some favor there, where it's well, they came to you with this information, they didn't have to tell you, so why not use it for you? Not everything has to be held against you, I don't feel like, but I guess Survivor, it gets crazy in this new age. Because the same thing happens later with Mike, when he tells Jenny that he found the idol, the 3-way shared immunity idol, that is. And then he also tells Daniel he found the idol. Daniel then goes to tell Chanel about it, so they actually are sticking to this little duo that had going on, because of all the other duos had formed. They were felt the need to stick together, but now there actually seem to be good working relationship here. But immediately the response is they don't want it to be activated, even though Mike was coming to Daniel as trying to get another ally out of it. Still their inkling is we don't want it to be activated at all. If we could just convince him not to use it or vote him out, one of those two things, those are our options. I'm like, dang it, Mike, I really want Mike to do well. Don't get him voted out just because he has this shared immunity idol, please. The whole thing with Mike was great this episode. So he finds the shared immunity idol where they do the weird phrase again that you're gonna have to say at the next challenge. There's such grace in the game of soccer. It makes me cry, is his quote. And he's like, he actually hates soccer. So that was interesting. And the really funny part, which you never see really, I don't remember seeing this on Survivor at all, where he actually could not find where he hid the idol. I imagine that happens sometimes, especially if you do just bury it underneath a random tree. And he was saying he buried it at like a fork where it branches off. And Daniel was like, well, it branches off so many different places. But they actually did find it eventually, so it was good. I liked in the other tribe, Omar and Jonathan. I really like this dynamic. And I'm actually really starting to quickly like Jonathan on that. So he seems like he's in a good position, and I feel like we'll be getting a lot of him this season. That's just the impression I get. And I hope so, because he seems like he'll be fun. But they have this kind of like unlikely duo, which I think is really fun. So we saw a teaser very early on that kind of Mariah was on the outs, so to speak, there. It was between Marianne and Mariah for much of the episode, but Jonathan from the beginning said he's close with Lindsay, he loves Marianne, but he's the least close to Mariah. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. There was this whole thing once they revealed Zach had been voted out. Got a big reaction from Marianne, and that sparked this whole conversation about how she actually had a huge crush on Zach. And Zach is the exact kind of white boy that she's attracted to, so that was funny. It made for even a funny conversation down to the tribal council where she might have potentially been voted out. Now, Taku lost the immunity challenge by like one piece, it seems. Like, Jonathan seemed so frustrated that he was that close. And that's fair, because that's like being that close, and that could be the difference between life and death of your tribe there. That's huge. But yeah, the storyline quickly became Mariah or Marianne. One of the two is going to go. And thank God, because Mariah, her name is in Marianne, so it's a lot of Mar involved. And it seemed for a while that Marianne's paranoia might actually do her in. She was panicking so hard and clearly looking for an idol at some point, like she was a mess. She had something in her hair, and she was like in a bush when she was encountered by someone, I forget who had found her, which was not a good look. And she went from being like, oh, we can pretty easily just choose to vote out Mariah, to almost being like, is this enough to say, okay, let's cut her out now, because it's just too much to deal with, kind of thing, you know? Time and time again, you hear how what you look for in an alliance partner is someone who you can rely on, someone who will be a little more level-headed, and is not prone to have emotional response or freak out easily, you know? And when you see the potential first vote here that she's freaking out that much, it might be a red flag there. And if we go to another tribal council in that tribe, I think it seems pretty open and shut that it would be Marianne. So I hope we don't, because I would be surprised if it went any other way. Honestly, at this point, Mariah, I'm ultimately satisfied with Mariah being voted out because I think Marianne adds a lot more. Mariah is not as entertaining as a personality. We did get her little flashback moment in this episode where she talked about her brother being the first healthcare worker to actually die from COVID. So that was something at least we got a little bit more from her before she went out. But I'm happy to see Marianne stay over Mariah for sure. What's interesting is that we again saw the shot in the dark being played. This is 2 weeks in a row now, the first 2 episodes. Which, like, how many times was you even played in Survivor 41? It might have been like 2 altogether. So that's pretty interesting how different that's played out already. I guess the writing has been more on the wall in this season for many of them. Was like, well, for these past 2 tribal councils, where it's like, oh, clearly I'm on the outs here. I need to do something. And I think the shot in the dark is cute for now, but the moment that it works, I think there's going to be a point of controversy forever. You know, it's a 1 in 6 shot of being safe. And to have that be the reason, like, potentially in a small tribe like this, all the other votes are nullified out and you just choose who goes home just because of a random 1 in 6 chance, I would be absolutely pissed. I would be mortified if I got voted out in that fashion. Just from a 1 in 6, they got safety and then got to choose who got voted out. That's why I feel like the idea is cute in that we know about it ahead of time. You can try to strategize around it, but it's cute as long as it's not working. Because it's low odds, so that's why it has been cute so far. You know, it's not been awful, but the moment it happens, we're gonna be talking about it for a while. Okay, so I hope we never see that day. Maybe I mean, if you keep it for like seasons and seasons, a 1 in 6 shot, we're going to see it at some point, the statistics would say. But I don't want to see that day. I don't, because it's so hard to strategize around. Like, it's one thing, maybe, at the merge. If there was something like that. But in these small tribes, you can't split the vote. There's no splitting going on. There's 3 different tribes, six people in each one to start. So pretty much everybody has to be on the same page, or you're really narrowly beating out. It's like a 1 vote difference. I mean, if anything. So that is everything. Like to have them be safe randomly. The thought terrifies me, because that could really impact the whole season. You could have a good player go home just because of a random chance like that. It's unfortunate. But yeah. That's pretty much it for now. I think I covered almost everything I wanted to talk about here. I will say that my team that I got drafted in my family draft that we did, where we each ended up with 6 people each. It was me, my brother, my mom. My team I drafted was Lindsay, Hi, Omar, Marianne, Lydia, and Zach. Which, when you look at it, are really like it's a bunch of the weirdos and outcasts put together. But surely one of them will do well, okay? Zach was only given to me because it was the last choice, so I'd never chose him. Fair enough. And he got voted out. Marianne's on thin ice right now, but other than that, Lindsay, Hi, and Lydia, and Omar don't seem to be doing too bad for themselves. I don't know if I necessarily see the winner in any of them, but hopefully. If you're new to the channel, we do Survivor videos every week. Except for these past few months, every now and then we'll break it up between seasons with a season of Black Mirror. But once Survivor comes back into session, we'll be doing those every week as well. Survivor Guatemala, which we'll be starting on soon. Basically, I'm taking my friend Alec, who I do the channel with as well, on a little journey through his first time watching Survivor. I'm showing him every season chronologically. So we started at Borneo, and we watched all the way up through Palau so far. And you can watch our reviews of every season, but also reactions to every episode since Survivor Thailand. So if that's something you're interested in, old school Survivor, and actually getting to see a firsthand reaction and discussion from someone who hasn't seen the show before, that's also really interesting, because he doesn't know anything about future seasons. I'm keeping him as spoiler free as possible, so it's a fun thing we're doing there. But we also, in addition to Survivor, talk about a lot of other different things: movies, video games, television, just general fun discussions and games. There's a lot going on the channel, and it's gonna be fun. Okay, a lot of fun things in store. Okay, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel. Click all the links in the description for our social media. Leave any feedback you have for us or comments in the description, and also check out our review of Dear Evan Hansen. That might be something you're interested in. Just a random other video we did. All right. Take care.